let us get started. So the first thing that we wanted to show off was our tickets and time filtering. We've got new indicators so that you can actually tell when things are being filtered or not. The other thing that we've got to show off is that every single filter is now a multi-select. And this is like our model table right here. So now that we've kind of finished this up, we're actually in the progress right now of doing the same to the sales table, and this will just kind of be a universal thing across all the different tables, which is the multi-select, the filter indicators, etc. So that's our tickets and time. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that? All right, moving on then. A small little change that we made is now at the bottom of the footer, there's also a little link to our version notes, which is, this is kind of recursive over here. So now includes the version notes. So you'll just be able to see what changed at the click of a button right from the site. So that's nice little change there. The other thing that we have updated is, you've probably seen this already if you've been using the customers module, but we've got these badges on top that display the total records for each section. The change that's to come is that the badge will change based on the filters. So the number will change based on, however many are returned based on the filter. So that's to come. It's not here yet, but it will be soon. And another thing that we've updated in specifically customers is that you can now pay an invoice from the customers module. Before, we had this only in the invoice module. So even if you found an invoice, you were looking for an invoice for a specific customer, you wouldn't have been able to pay it, but now you can without having to move around the application. So that's just a huge time saver, I think. And lastly, we can now download sales order PDFs. So that's just a nice new thing to have. And you can print that and do whatever you want with it. And I think those are all the updates that we have for now. There's a lot of big things in progress. They're all like halfway done, so that we don't have them to show yet, but next time you'll be blown away.
Do you want to give a sneak peek of point of sale in the web? I know you can kind of bend to light that module up real quick, but the front end work's been done. Shoshana's getting APIs plugged in and filling in some of the gaps around it, but it's coming together quite nicely.
This is my local environment.
Wouldn't be a demo if somebody didn't ask her to pivot and do something live in real time that she didn't stack the deck for beforehand.
Okay, so here's what we've got. It's right now it's basically just a mock-up. Not much has been wired up. In fact, I mean, everything that's being wired up is in the middle of being wired up, so it doesn't do anything yet. But this is how it's going to look. We're working out different flows of point of sale and how we're going to actually work it out, with different context and different information that we need before we start a transaction, and that's all to come. But this is what the main page would look like. We've got our parts, we've got, the different parts that are included in the kit. Obviously you can change the quantity, our display price. These basically are our part categories. Now, it depends on, which system we're looking at. Some of these are kind of like drill downs. So, I could choose one category, and within that category, we've got 4 different categories. So if that's the case, then once you click on a category here, these buttons would then change to display whatever categories are in this umbrella category. And if not, if there's just that one category, then we would display the parts over here. We also have a grid view, so you can toggle between those two, depending on what you prefer. Down here we have, these are action buttons. This applies to Smart Suite specifically, and I'm sure it can apply to Rover as well. But basically different modifications that you can make to the transaction, right? Modify a line. Other actions would include, a return on account, that kind of thing. And those are all, these are, and that's also going to be dynamic. So that's going to depend on the customer, on the system, what actions you want available based on, what you have currently in the order. And then of course there's a transaction type. Some examples would be, open, because, every register needs to open. You have to input a certain amount of cash. So, that would be a transaction type, that kind of thing. I think that's it for point of sale. The last thing would be the search for the part number. So that would, make a selection, and then whatever parts match that search will display over here. And that is it, I think, from point of sale.
Thanks, Shoshana.